it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my recent reads, latest 10 books that I've read. First is Ghostlight by Kenneth Oppel, and all these books are out now, so I'll forget to say it, but Ghostlight by Kenneth Oppel, and thank you to Tundra Books for sending me this. I definitely need to read all the other books that I have from this author now because this was phenomenal. I read the last almost 50% in one sitting, could not put it down. I loved how the opening chapter introduced us to Rebecca Strand, her father, the lighthouses, etc., and the events of that night in the early 1800s. That part alone hooked me and connected me to Rebecca. Then you have our main character, Gabe. He lost his dad not long ago, and he's still angry. Angry in his grief, yes, but also angry at his dad the way he was before he died. And I completely related to that, and I was lucky enough to tell my dad I forgave him and asked for forgiveness for the way I acted as an adult, because I stayed angry for a very long time. A few months before he got sick and passed. So I was very blessed and lucky to have that moment. Anyway, he's just a great kid and a great main character. Gabe's connection to Rebecca was so touching and beautiful also. And I loved his best friend Yuri, as well as their new friend Callie. Yuri has my heart though. I love the way he speaks. He really does sound like a proper gentleman from 100 years ago or so. He moved here from Russia with his family when he was 12, so he still has a thick accent and doesn't use a lot of contractions. His dad is having a hard time with the language and getting certified in Canada as well. So there's just so much some kids will be able to relate to with his characters also. And he's also so logical to a fault until his first ghost experience. He's kind and brilliant. He can fix or create almost anything involving motors, technology, etc. However, if Gabe even looks at a machine or electronic, it breaks. There's someone who has to show Gabe how to use a computer in here, and because of who it is showing him, it's just like, oh, poor Gabe. Callie is an amazing writer and researcher and has a ghost blog. Just love her. All three are so kind, brave, smart, and loyal. They make the best team. All their allies they make along the way were also so fascinating and amazing. There were some ghosts in history I looked up to see if were based on from real Canadian people or history. A few examples would be George Brown's character was, and I even found the story about William Ward. I love what the author did for his character in here. I see Sagas, I don't know if I'm saying that right, was another. In the acknowledgements, the author says and thanks Bernadette Corin for relating details of her mother's childhood, Anglo-Indian experience, and Darren P. Binga, traditional knowledge and land use coordinator of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, for being an authenticity reader for Ghostlight. So I definitely learned some things about Canadian history, and in turn that made me look up more info and learn even more. And I always love that. The whole story behind Viker, the Order, Rebecca and her dad, the Ghostlight and everything about that, including the journey, and the purple light, don't want to spoil, were all so gripping, so imaginative, detailed writing. Besides the first chapter, it's not historical fiction, but because of the connection to the past, the events that happened, the ghost and their stories, there's this historical feel woven into our world, and I love that. The ending was so good, absolutely loved it, and left the possibility for a sequel. Please let there be more. Highly recommend. Then I read Second Sleep by Diane Stanley. Such an intriguing idea for a story, and I really enjoyed it, and I had a great time with it. And I was so hooked and fascinated by so many things. The mystery of Max and Rosie's mother's disappearance, the second sleep and the dreams, and more. I love the detail of Max turning his experience with the cabin and the second sleep into an illustrated book. The author described his process brilliantly, and I could see the book clearly in my head. I love the character growth of Max over his time at the cabin. He becomes aware of some of his qualities that need work, and he makes it a focus to work on them and be better. This includes being a better big brother to Rose. I loved their brother-sister relationship and how much it grew into something so much better than when this started. The whole mystery with his mom, the cabin, the dreams, how everything came together in the end was just superb. The characters we meet in the second sleep were also great too, and I just loved how different this was. It had great messages throughout and offers an opportunity for great conversations with kids on what it means to be a good friend or sibling, what to do in tough situations, work through how to make the right choice, and so much more. Had a great time. Okay. Thank you so much to Far Shore for sending me the second book. So antsy about this book, I don't even tell you what it is. It's the second book in the Dreadwood series, Fear Ground by Jennifer Killick. Like the first book, I didn't give it a star rating on Goodreads, and I wouldn't recommend it for middle grade readers. While I enjoyed the story of this one even more than even the first one, GD was said yet again, so I don't feel comfortable giving it a rating for middle grade either. It's said on page 80, and I'm thinking it'll be just said once again like the first book, but then this time it's said twice. It's said again on page 333, like 20 some pages before the end. So, just so unnecessary, in my opinion. Again, this is a personal issue having to do with my faith, and also being raised by my mama. I could never recommend a book with that in it to kids. She'd be so mad at me. But if you don't have issues with that and aren't a kid but adult reading like me, then this story was even better than the first. The creepy factor was amped up so much by the human bad guys, so creepy, just them, but also the new animal creature thing in here. Ugh, so creepy. Love the whole continuation into this one, and this friend group has grown and gotten so close. They have the best dynamic and are quite funny together, especially Gus. Mr. Canton has my heart though, and I love both books having a different creepy nursery rhyme tune and different creepy creature so far as well. Also love the whole idea of the flinch aspect in here and every detail that goes with that. Since to me this is more upper MG, young adult, I decided to give more to the reviews this time than if it was more middle grade, if that makes sense. Like the last time it happened and it was more middle grade, I didn't feel comfortable even saying hardly anything. If it happens again, I might do them all this way. Just not give it a star, but tell my thoughts about the story itself and say I don't recommend it for middle graders. I don't know. I hope it doesn't I can't believe it. I still can't get over I have to worry about it in middle grade. So, yeah. And then I read Jolly Foul Play by Robin Stevens. And this is the fourth in the Murder, Most, and Ladylike Mystery series. If you read the UK, in the US it's a Wells and Wong mystery. I read the UK edition. I also have the US edition. Just still having the best time with these. This is the fourth in the series, like I said, and if I had to rank, I'd probably say this was my least favorite so far, but still enjoyed it so much. Just compared to the others, this wouldn't be a top. We're back at the school for another murder to solve, so it was great to be back where it all started. It balances the series out, I feel, to go back there occasionally for a case to solve. This didn't give me that cozy feel like the others did, or with the great fun feels, but this was an important story for the series regardless, because Hazel and Daisy hash out some things that needed to be hashed out, so there's still that realistic character growth continuing in the books so far, and I really enjoyed that. There's amazing messages and lessons in this one as well. For example, mean girls, bullying, but with a focus on gossiping and what it does to others, those who spread it, and those who it is about. It's just horrible. And whether true or not, once it's out there, and people will always have it in the back of their minds. And I also enjoy the little twist or addition to the detective side each book, and this one was especially good. I know all these girls at school by name, who they are, their personalities, etc. Very well written characters and just stories overall. I think Beanie has my heart though, and wow, was I so proud of her in that one part in here especially. Just having the best time. Highly recommend. Love them. And then I read the fourth in the Ghost Hunter series by Susan McCauley, Swamp Witch, and the author had sent me this. Thank you so much, and this is out now. I just love this series so much. It's just a unique take on an alternate world with a very high paranormal presence. It's set in New Orleans too, so love. All the details down to the names given, everything, the tattoos, psychics, OPI, wards, just everything is so well done. There's always a glossary in the back of every book if it's needed to. The ghost and spooky factor are better and better each book, with a whole new paranormal mystery for our kids and their mentors. This one was a doozy, and I loved it. The characters are incredibly done, so well written. I think all of them have a piece of my heart, but Mrs. Wilson and Onyx have a little bit bigger piece of my heart. And this is the fourth and last for now, and I highly recommend. It just came out, like I said, and I hope eventually there will be more, just because I love these kids' world and stories so much. Just such an engaging, intricate story with the most endearing characters and just a spooky good time. Loved it. And then I read The Whispering Fog by Landra Jennings. And this is out now, and the author had sent me this arc, and this is what I read. And the finished copy's upstairs. I just showed it in the book club, but HarperCollins sent me a finished copy. So thank you so much. I was so excited because I love this book. Just an incredible story. I loved it and just flew through it. I love a good retelling or reimagining of sorts, and the author did an incredible job with her take on Snow White and Rose Red. This is very much its own story in its own right, though. The author weaves together spooky with relatable issues and important messages for kids effortlessly. Kids will relate to parents separating, getting divorced, sometimes guilt for whatever reason, blaming yourself, and it's not your fault, kids, don't do that. Changing homes, changing schools, feeling lesser than or different, and the way relationships in our lives change as we start to grow up. Usually friends, or in this case sisters, who are best friends, plus so much more. I never thought when I picked this up that I would learn so much about tomatoes, but I did. And I love stuff like that. Anything can have significance for someone and mean something more, even a tomato. In cases of grief, the sentiment originally behind it can grow to an almost obsession, and it helps keep the one you lost closer to you. Nev is such a great main character. So many kids will relate to her alone with so much. Her and Rose are so different, but the thing they have in common is their strong love for the other. All of what happens is almost a blessing in disguise. Almost, because I just can't say what happens to them is okay, because duh. But the aftermath is a blessing for sure. Such amazing character growth and development here, especially with Nev, when she's forced to be without Rose and talking and making decisions all for herself, making friends besides Rose, and talking about her own passions like art and not the ones she just does because Rose does and likes them. You can need your sister, best friend, family, whoever in your life, but don't ever let another relationship take over who you are or change you. Be proud of who you are, your own interests, your own thoughts, important messages subtly woven in, and I just love that so many kids will be receiving that. Bear has my heart. I also love the name. I'm assuming that's a nod to Grimm. So good. Piper is such a quirky and lovable character. Sammy is just as amazing. They both help Nev so much in many different ways apart from just with Rose. Now for the spooky goodness, and man, it was good. The descriptions of this town, especially the house in the woods and going to the swamp, just so vividly detailed. I felt like I was experiencing it along with them. The fog especially was so atmospheric all on its own. And the voices, such a great touch. Just everything about the fog and what it can do is incredible. The swamp witch and everything about her, including the fascinating backstory. Then the creepy boy and everything about him, including his connection to another character. Also the creepy fairy tale book and its connection. The swamp witch and what she tries to do with her evil message has its own lessons and messages woven into it, and you see the sister story in another light, a darker one. Also intriguing and gripping and imaginative, atmospheric, spooky, and just full of friendship, sisterly love, adventure, danger, edge of your seat, race against time, suspense. While being a spooky fairy tale of a story, it's also a heartwarming tale of sisters who would do anything for the other and learning to be the main character of their own story. This just came out recently, like I said, and I highly recommend it. I can't believe it's a debut, and I can't wait to see what's to come from the author in the future. I know she'll do great things, and I'll be waiting to put them in my cart. And then I read the first book in the Sinister Summer series by Kiersten White, Wretched, Waterpark. Love these covers. This is such a gothic, spooky, somewhat kooky, amazing read. I loved it. It's unusual, weird, eerie, and just plain delightful. There's mystery all around. The mystery at the water park they have to solve, the mystery of their aunt, and also the mystery of why their parents left them with her for the summer and where they are. The last two mysteries seem like they will continue through the series, and we will get clues and puzzle pieces throughout, but still have the mystery of the location the kids travel to each book to solve, and I love that. There's even some clever wordplay in here and fabulous names, not only Aunt Sophronia, but some of the last names such as Sinister Winterbottom and also Black Widow. And then like the water park, Fathoms of Fun water park, that has 5 stars but not on Yelp but on Gulp. Some of the park rides are Oblivion, Abandoned Hope, Infinite Plunge, Mortal Coil, The Other Side, The Afterlife, and more. Then cabanas that look like mausoleums and rafts in the shape of open coffins. Just all the descriptions of this water park, not just the names, but the way the rides, everything look, the way the employees are dressed and the way they speak, giving black lace parasols for sun protection. Just such vivid details, which makes this such an atmospherically gothic read. The way their aunt and some of the Waterpark people talk in riddles almost, or say one thing and mean another, or mean what they say then change it to another. Getting places and not remembering getting there. Like I said, very weird, unusual, kooky read that was amazing. Theo and Alexander are polar opposites for siblings, but they balance the other out, and they both had some great character development. Will has eyes only for Rodrigo most of the time, but she added to the whole vibe that is his book. Edgar has my heart. This is a great summer story, and also it's perfect for spooky season as well. So a great read no matter what. Kind of gives me if the Addams Family ran a Waterpark vibes. Highly recommend. And then I read The Peonies, Summer in the City by Alix, Sloan, and Jennie and Willink. And the authors had sent me this. Thank you so much. This is out now. This was such a wholesome and charming read. I loved it. This book made me feel like I was experiencing New York City along with them, because so many locations and things are just so vividly described. So atmospheric for that. I love the dogs in here as well. And their owners were also different and amazing also. Poppy and Esme are just the sweetest main characters. They are a couple of terrific kids with an amazing head on their shoulders, responsible, kind, smart, and just the best. I love the whole friends family aspect so much. And I hate the friends were being separated by one moving, but this is just realistic situation and relatable for some kids, and it will show them to make the best of a not so great situation. Just such an enjoyable read. Really had a great time with this. And I read Agatha Anxious and the Deer Island Ghost, and it's book 1 of the Dead Fellow 5 by R.J. McDowell. And Bumblebee Books has sent me this. Thank you so much. This is out now. What a spooky good time. I love this so much. This was such a great middle grade horror spooky read. Everything is described so well. I felt like I was almost there as well. From the mask shop, Agatha's house, her clothes, her aunt's house, the cemetery, the town itself, and especially Aunt Hattie's shop. I wish I could go there. Sounds like such a great place with unusual and weird yet amazing things. There are quite a few deliciously creepy parts in here, but for me, by far the most creepy was our time with a certain someone at the parlor. That's all I want to say. I was creeped out and a little scared for Agatha. I loved it. Another book with amazing names in it as well. My favorites though are the last names of Agatha and 2 of her classmates. So Anxious, Panic, and Doom. Brilliant. I think they're connected, the characters, so their names connect them too. And Agatha is a great main character who has a lot of traits that will be relatable to so many kids. I absolutely loved sweet Leopold and the friendship that grows between he and Agatha. They both really needed a friend and for it to be each other. Aunt Hattie was a hoot, and I wish she was my aunt. I loved her. I love the whole backstory of what she and now Agatha can do, and just the whole idea in general of everything we learn having to do with that. I was also so intrigued by the ghosts we learned about in this one and their backstory. Just so good. My heart belongs to Macbeth though. I was in love with Agatha in this book already when I saw she had a beloved German Shepherd. Also, Agatha likes odd numbers for everything, and I felt so seen because I like even numbers for everything. Like I said, this is out now. Highly recommend. A creepy middle grade horror with ghosts that will actually make the tiny hairs on your arm stand up. Such an epic ending, but I really can't wait for that sequel now. Can't wait to see what happens next. Highly recommend. And then I read book 1 in the Guardian series by Charlie Lovett, the Book of 7 Spells. And Month 9 Books has sent me this. Thank you so much. This was such a magical story full of friendship and imagination. I love this and I flew through it. The whole idea of the Book of 7 Spells, the diary, this magical house, the library, Moriarty, Mortimer, Ariel, the Bodkins, and more were so imaginative and intriguing to me. Then these 4 kids who were so completely different from one another, even the 2 twins who were completely different. Yet each of them brings something valuable to the group. They all realize how great they are together and how they need each other and learn what true friendship really is. I really love the multi-third person point of view, which makes sense since I enjoy chapters that alternate point of view. This is just another great way of doing pretty much the same. I love getting to see all our main characters' experiences, feelings, etc. I always love that. The whole backstory of the Guardians, this town, the Bodkins, Moriarty, Mortimer, the book and diary, Ariel, so gripping and so well done. I just love the whole concept of every detail that makes up this story. These 4 different kids who all need the friendship for different reasons at this time in their lives, the magical aspects, the great story building, great details to build up this author's world and story. Just the details to the magical house alone were superb. I love that house. The characters are written so great as well, and they're all unique and identifiable. I've grown to love all 4, and they all have had some phenomenal character growth by the end of the book. Ariel especially fascinates me. Her backstory and just everything about her. And then the ending was so good. It was a race against the clock, edge of my seat, suspense, and I loved it. As I always love that. Great ending, overall period. Then the last few paragraphs that make up that last page. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna need that sequel soon. I love this so much. It's already out, like I said. Highly recommend. Full of magic, danger, friendship, adventure, heart, imagination, and even some puzzle riddle-like test trials of sorts. Alright, y'all, that's it for this video. Did you see any that you want to read now? Have you read any of these before? Did you like them? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Today's shirt is the newest Halloween shirts from Rosy Days. I used to watch Beauty YouTube a few years ago, and then I just quit watching them all. There's only a few like I'll watch occasionally for some ideas, see what's good and what's not. But there's one main one that I will constantly watch. But actually now mainly I just watch her vlog channel because I like vlogs. But I love her, Casey Holmes. And she has a boutique, online boutique, Rosy Days. Her dogs are Daisy and Rose, and they're always on the back of the logo shirts, usually. And their Halloween ones are so good. I'll try to show it, but the front just, it's like a potion bottle with it coming out and says RD. I have no idea if that shows you it, so when I'm editing, if it didn't, I'll add in a clip here showing you the back of the shirt. It didn't show it, so here's the clip. And that's Daisy, and that's Rose. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and if you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.